Hey guys, Coach Bricks. Hey, listen, I want to try something a little different. I'm trying to get back up with my podcast. Um, to bring you some different topics. Not just always dealing with the speed aspect that I did before and bringing coaches on, but dealing with this different, all kind of different things when it comes to sports and what's happening today. You know, and sports in general. Also, when it deals with speed and sports performance, definitely I love to talk about that. But there's always interesting topics throughout. And one of the things that I, mentioned the other day, and there was an article that I posted, and it was called, whatever happened to the old school coach. And, I know it gets a bad rap, when you say old school, like they don't know what the heck they're talking about, those kind of ways are long gone, that kind of Bobby Knight type mentality, those kind of things. And the article you have to read wasn't really specifically just to that. It did talk about, the coaches that would yell at you, but they'd also be the guys that put their arms around you. And, when you did something right, they were the guys that held you accountable. They were the guys that, disciplined. These were all, they were reinforcing what your parents did. The problem with society over time is that it's definitely changed where it's become the respect level of adults has definitely dropped off. And a lot of that has to do, I'm not just going to blame it on kids, it's adults. The parents now think their kids are the greatest thing since sliced bread. They don't do wrong. And that's where we're at in society right now. So if a coach doesn't play your son because he's not good, instead of telling your son, hey, listen, find out from the coach what you can do to become better, we rather just take it to the school board and have a big debate over it and then get the coach fired or whatever. And it's a revolving cycle. So we lose good coaches a lot of times. And no matter what you want to say, that's exactly what's happening. They either good coaches don't want to coach because they don't want to put up with that, which I wouldn't want to put up with. And, if you have a coach there, he has to walk, on eggshells all the time. Am I going to be fired? Am I not going to be fired? I know a lot of coaches in this area, and say for a better word, they play both sides. And it's not really right because they'll tell this guy this thing, okay, and then contradict themselves to this guy over here just because they don't want to get in a confrontation with stuff. They don't have a backbone anymore. And I would love to name coaches because, trust me, I have a bunch that should be called out in the high school area, but I'll just keep my mouth quiet for right now. But that's what's going on. It's going on. It's going on. It's rampant. And it definitely happens a lot more than I've ever seen it. You always had your parents who were overly involved with the team in the sense of, telling, the coach, hey, my son should do this, this, and this. And I've witnessed it firsthand with my one of my brother's who coached. One parent was always in his ear, always in his ear, always in his ear. My son should play this. My son should do this. My son should do. Okay, great. You know what I mean? If you want it so bad, then why don't you? And I'll give you a prime example. I coached for one season. It was a JV team. And the kids didn't have a lot of respect. Okay. And I saw where it came from. You know what I mean? It came right up, sat up on top of the hill during our practices when that was coming from the parents. And, I flipped out on one practice, just flipped. Not my best moment in coaching, but it happened. And, we went along and we had another game, I think, the following day. And we were on like a 9-game winning streak. All right. We beat the team that was undefeated just a week before and stuff. And my best player didn't show up with the right jersey for whatever reason. I don't know. You tell me. But he didn't show up with the right jersey. He showed up with the away jersey, wore it home. Well, he can't wear that. Well, he comes up to me and asks me if he could borrow somebody else's jersey, use it on the plane. I was like, no, it's not going to happen. So then all of a sudden, we're getting ready. It's probably 5 minutes before game time. And his parents call me over. And I proceeded to tell them that, listen, he forgot the jersey. I'm not going to punish another kid because your son. Well, you're not going to win without that kid. You're not going to win without my son, I should say. And I'm like, okay. I said, that's fine. We're here to play. People who do what's right, people who brought their jerseys are the ones who are going to have the opportunity to play. So they were all huffing and puffing, making a big deal about it. And that kid's sulking at the end of the bench. Instead of encouraging his team like a real leader would, he's sulking at the end of the bench. And he technically was my all-around probably best player that I had. And the team that we were playing, they beat us first half of the season, 3-0 or whatever. And they were the team that we were chasing. And at the end of the game, we ended up winning the game 2-0. The team played phenomenal. We really worked well together and stuff like that. And, the kids are all excited. Well, who's down at the end of the bench not excited? And who's not excited up in the stands? Yeah, the kid and the parents weren't excited. And it just goes to show what's going on. Listen, if you mess up in life, okay, I know it's hard to hear, but we all mess up. But if you mess up, okay, and your kid messes up, let them take it. Let them take the punishment that's going to come their way. Let them take that responsibility so they can learn that when they get older in life, they're not living in your basement when they're 35. Because trust me, I know kids that are living in their parents' basement at 35 because they can't make it. Okay? And people might be out there laughing, but that is going on in our society. Okay? It is going on greatly in our society. Okay? And it's unfortunate because they're not being taught at a young age. I tell every single athlete that comes through my facility, life is tough. Life is very difficult. Okay? We can make it more difficult by coddling people and entitling them to something at a young age. Okay? So then as they get older, they're not going to know how to handle that situation. Or we can make it, okay, you screwed up here when you're 8, 9, 10 years old. We need to fix that, teach them something, so then as they grow up, they continue to progress and get better. But for some reason, we can't do that. For some reason, we don't want to put any onus on them. And, I would love to hear from parents what the reason is. Listen, is sometimes a coach wrong? I'm not going to say every coach does it 100%. But in the same respect, there's a lot of youth coaches out there who get $0 or very minimal amount of money. If you're so great, okay, as a parent, and you're so great as a coach, then coach. Take your time to come up with the schedule, come up with the, whatever the game schedule, the practice schedule, how the workout's supposed to be designed, all this kind of stuff. And then you go take that and take the same amount of money. Because a lot of people do it because they enjoy it. They want to do it. They want to help the kids. A lot of them are in it for the right reason. There's some in it for the wrong reason, but there's a lot in it for the right reasons. And they try their darndest to be the best they possibly can be. But it's youth athletics, people. It's youth. Okay? This isn't life and death. Okay? My father was always a guy, if you talk to him, he could really care less about sports. He said, I'm putting you in sports for 2 reasons. 1, so you run and burn some energy. Number 2 is so you learn life lessons. He never said sports lessons. He didn't. He put them together and he said, you're going to learn life lessons. You're going to learn how difficult it's going to be at times and how you have to overcome adversity, how you have to work as a team and overcome certain situations. And you got to do these things. Okay? He knew that. And he's a non-sports guy. He could care less. He doesn't watch sports on TV. He doesn't care about them. He never played them. My man could care less about them. But he knew the value of them, what the real true value of them, especially at the youth level. The real value is teaching you life lessons later on. Not all the wins and losses. Not that I play every second of every day and I show out that I'm 9 years old and I scored 17 goals in this game and I'm the greatest thing since Pele. No. He understood that. But for some reason, so many people think, oh, wow, my son's the greatest thing and he should never come out and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, he's 9 years old. All right, or 10 years old or whatever. And that's what's happening, And until we get this under control, this situation of, coaches and not having the best around, it's going to struggle. We're going to struggle. We're raising a generation that's going to struggle. And I know people out there, every generation says a thing about the youth and stuff. It's not about the youth. It's about the adults that are teaching the youth not to do things correctly. Because you could say every generation is soft. I mean, every older generation says the younger generation is soft. And that's probably true. You know what I mean? You could go back to the World War II generation, all right, which we consider the greatest generation of all. They probably would look back on my generation and say we were soft. That's great. Okay? I look back on this generation and say they're soft. But there's a difference in how the parents are doing things. My parents never got involved. And very rare did any parent ever get involved. You might have had one. But most parents stayed out of it. It's on the coach and the players. You decide what you got to do. We respect it. Now it's not like that. If some parent doesn't like it, they go to the school board and the school board and, members, a friend of theirs, and they're just not going to rehire the coach or they're going to fire him for no reason really besides, well, my son's not playing. Well, maybe your son needs to work, get better, but whatever it is. So I highly suggest that, we look at, coaches in a different light. And like I said, not all are great coaches. Some definitely need to go. All right. They just don't understand what the heck they're doing and they're in it for the wrong reasons. But there's many out there trying their hardest to figure out how to do things. And if you think you can do it better, then take their job. Take their pay, take their job, and go do it. Because I guarantee you, most of you would say, no, I just don't have the time for that. And rightfully so. Maybe you don't. But then don't go criticizing somebody else about how they coach, unless you're willing to step up and actually take that upon yourself to do yourself. If you are, great, go do it. If you're not, then I'd probably shut my mouth and let my kid learn. Let my kid develop and learn. Hey, listen, all right, I'm not playing. What do I need to do to play? Well, I need to do X, Y, and Z. Okay? Or maybe it's just not the right situation. Maybe I'm not in the right situation. I got to find another team. Not during the season. I don't like quitters. But maybe after the season, I got to find a different situation. So I think there's a lot of different possibilities that we can do. But I think it was a great read. It was a short read, but it was a great read about the old school mentality of coaches who really cared about the kids. And I'm not saying a lot of coaches don't, but it's about, we're running them out of town. We're running a lot of good coaches out. And I'm not talking about the guys that always say yes to both sides. Hey, I want to play linebacker, and I know there's one spot left, and they tell this kid yes, and then there's a kid over here. His parents come up to him, yeah, my son should be playing. Like, okay, yeah, he'll play too. That's not the kind of guy. They need to be directed forward, saying, hey, listen, this is why your son's not playing. Boom. And in all honesty, if you're high school and your parents are still coming up and asking coach why you're not playing, there's something wrong. All right, you need to be man about it. All right, and ask, why am I not playing? What can I do? Not even that, but maybe asking this question. If I'm not playing, hey, coach, what can I do to improve so I can get on the field? Not go up and say, why am I not playing? But let's rephrase the question and let's actually ask like a true human being should. That's how it should probably be done. Parents, you don't need to get involved in every little thing. What I mean? Let people figure it out. Let the youth figure it out. That we figure things out by trial and error a lot of times. And we figure things out by being put into a situation and learning from that situation. We don't learn it out when somebody's always giving us the answers. We don't learn anything really by that. All right. We just learn how to actually not be able to accomplish anything. So let people figure it out. All right. Guys, like I said, I love talking. I love, talking about different topics when it comes to sports, but also, sports performance stuff. And that's what I want to do here. So you guys take care. Stay strong. Stay blessed. Remember, greatness never rests.